Hey everyone, it is Natalie from Being Intentionally Creative, and today we are going to do a bit of an experiment. I had seen not too long ago, I think Daniel Cooper had showed, there's a company, I believe they're in England, but I don't know the name of their company, but they made silicone pieces that you could put in a piece like this in order to create a hole if your piece didn't have a hole in it. So in my thinking, I went, okay, I don't really want to purchase these right now. And basically because my Canadian dollar is really not, it's not doing as well as I need it to do to buy things from other countries. But having said that, I then had a thought that went through my mind, well, what about straws? They're plastic. Not all of them. The ones I'm working with are plastic. What if we used these as a way of creating holes in our pieces, whatever we're making? So this may not be something you're interested in, and it may not sort of make sense for the type of art you're doing or the creative projects, but I wanted to play and I wanted to experiment to see how good this would work. Now, I have this little paw heart. I love saying that. Anyway, I have this. This is resin in here, and I used a straw to create that hole in this piece. So obviously the paw and the heart had already been done, and then I added the black resin inside this one paw outlet or inlay, whatever you want to call it. But I had put the straw in, and because I was working with the Let's resin tape, I was able to stick my straw down into this, and it was held in place because of the tape. And then when this had cured up, then I pulled out the straw and left with that hole there. Okay. Now, having done that, now I want to try mixed mold and see how this works for me. So I'm figuring that I should be okay, but I guess we're going to find out, and it'll let you know whether or not. So it'll work with resin. This wasn't a very big opening to really work with this, and I don't know if you can get straws that are a smaller diameter than what these are. I also had wondered about these mica brushes, like whether these would work as well, just because like they're plastic, so they may work. I'm not going to use this or one of those in this experiment, but it opens up to the opportunity. What have you got that could potentially be used if this works with the mixed mold that I've got? Now, I haven't mixed up any colors, and I wanted to do that. I'm going to show you how I did this, by the way. I'm not, you notice I have 3 up. I've got another one we're going to put in place. So let's do, what do we got? I don't want pink. Let's just do the white, and then we'll do yellow and green. And these are the Temu based colors. So how did I do this? Now, very carefully. So I'm just going to turn this around. The one I've got too much of the stuff. And what stuff is that, you ask? Okay, it's the Let's Resin UV resin kit for bonding. Okay, I could have used regular resin, UV resin for this if I wanted to, but I thought I would use this. So let's just see where I want to put my 4th. I'll just put it over here. So all I'm doing, and I have to admit, I am seriously not appreciating the air bubbles in these containers. And I know I don't have my gloves on. You should have your gloves on, but for ease of trying to work with this, I'm being, I should have them on, but I don't. But I recommend you have them on. So you do you, and I will do me. Keep wondering what I'm hitting over here. I've got a piece of silicone. Let's just do it here. So I'm just putting a little bit of this bond down. And my hands are a little shaky today, so that's not really helping me out a heck of a lot. And then all I did was I took this toothpick, and I want to carefully, let's move this around. And all I do is I'm just spreading that out to give it an area that is bigger than what the straw is. And I don't, like, if you know whether or not one can get straws that are smaller than this. I know you can get them bigger. I've got a flower upstairs that has a straw on it that is bigger than these ones. I'm just not 100% sure if you can get them smaller. Okay, so we're just going to set this down in here. And I'm just going to put my finger on top of it like this. I've got my little Let's Resin light here. I'm trying to keep my finger straight. So hopefully I'm not. But anyway, all I'm doing is getting that set in there. UV lighting it. And the other thing I did, I'll just do around this edge, and then I'm going to use one of my UV lights. I also went down in through the center of the straw, so I could cure what was in the center of it as well. Now again, this may not be, like, it's just one of those things that came into my head, and I thought, well, let's do a little bit of an experiment with it and see if this will work. Now, it was rather easy to pull out the straw from the resin, and I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that when it comes taking these straws out, that the mix to mold doesn't, like, I have such a little amount of this bonding stuff that I'm thinking I should be able to pull the straws out. But I guess we're going to find out, aren't we? And actually what I should have done is I had some pliers over here a little bit earlier. I should have left them over here so I could have something to grip them, but we'll see. Maybe it won't matter. And we pretty much know that ceramic resin won't stick to resin, but I've done a couple of experiments where big enough pieces it's stuck to, but anyway, we'll see. So let's get what we don't need out of the way now. So yeah, I thought this was kind of cool because if you wanted to fill in these, like the pads, that's the word I was looking for. If you want to fill in the pads, but you still wanted to have a place to hang this from instead of drilling a hole. Now, granted, that's a pretty big hole. That's why I'm wondering if we can get smaller straws, and maybe at some point I will attempt one of the micro brushes to see if that works, or I'll just be on the lookout for smaller straws. Okay, let's throw that off to the side. I have 70 mils here of the ceramic resin. As I say, we'll sort of blend these in a little bit into our resin. Again, being an experiment, I don't really need it any specific way. And I would suggest maybe pushing that off to the side. So, I mean, I don't want to knock it over, and you don't want to displace your straws. I think this takes about 85. I know I've done them before, and I think it's about 85 that fills these up. Hopefully I've got enough, or at least for this experiment anyway. Okay, let's put a couple of shots of yellow. A couple of shots of this lotus green, which seems more neon-y to me than... Mix this up a little bit. Still trying to sort of find the happy medium with getting this stuff mixed in so you can actually get a pattern out of it. The yellow is very much more defined in this mix that I've got going on right now than the green is. All right. Let's see what we do here. Let's get it back in. So you're going to want to be really careful when you're pouring this that you don't knock into those straws, okay? As you can see, my yellow is definitely more defined there than the green is. In fact, I feel like we're not seeing the green at all. Alrighty then. I was going to say I could spritz some of the green on top, and let's just see what happens if I do that and see if I can maybe mix it in a little bit, or I'll drop it up high enough that maybe it won't. And as much as it may seem like a good idea to bang this around, I'm not going to, because I don't want to mess it up. So let me just circle this around, trying not to. It's interesting how that green just blended right into the yellow and the white, eh? Let me put a couple of more shots of that on. Oops. Yep, there goes the lid for that. Get that later. All right. Okay. So we are going to obviously let that set up. I'll let it set up for an hour, and then we'll be able to take it out. That won't be an issue because it's not a intricate mold. You know how I feel about intricate molds. I believe in leaving them for at least the hour, and in some cases 2 or 3 hours, to make sure it sets up really well, because we don't want, with intricate pieces, to have an issue. All right. Just want to get some more stuff out of my way. Okay. So we will let it sit, and then when we come back, we will see how easy it is or is not to pull those straws out. And like I say, I mean, you may not have any use for doing this. It may seem like an odd thing to do, but again, maybe you want to make something that's got some holes in it for whatever reason, whether you want to fill them in with something. I don't know. I just thought, well, if this works, cool. If it doesn't, well, at least we know, right? When it's time to take this out, I'll be back. All right, let's get this out of its mold, and then we will see about how easy and or not it is to take those straws out. I want to grab it by there, but I think that's a bad idea. And I think I'd recommend, well, you should wipe these down anyways before you use resin in them. So here we are on the underside, which, you know, leaves a lot to be desired from a design perspective. Anyway, this is more cool, as cool can be, right? Okay, I'm going to set this down because I want to, if I do it holding on to it, I'm afraid that it might break. It's been sitting for, what, maybe 2 hours? Maybe. So let's see if we can get these out without damaging. Okay, so, all right. Now we might have to, yeah, so it's leaving behind the resin, but I'm hoping that'll be relatively easy to get out. It's being a little more finicky. See if I can twist it. There we go. So the whatchamacallit's still in it. The UV bonding resin product. Okay, that one came out relatively easily. Okay, cool. I was wondering why you wouldn't have noticed, but my piece wasn't sitting level, and I was trying to figure out why. So I'm breaking the bond, which is great, of what's underneath. So if I get my toothpick here, actually we'll do this through the other side. Again, I don't want to break it. All right, so just taking this and pushing it through. Okay. So we were able to make holes in it, which is what I wanted. That was what I was doing, obviously, to see if it would actually work with the mix to mold, and it does. Again, is this something that makes sense to do? Well, I don't know. I mean, I guess it depends on what you're wanting to make, and if you wanted to then fill in with resin to make a design of some sort. Like, I think there's maybe room for it to be an idea that you could work with. I'm wondering if, see, I'm not sure. So when we're talking about the size of different things, I mean, we've got these dotting tools, but if these are, yeah, I think these are glass. So I'm not sure something like this work. However, having said that, I guess there's the potential that if you put Vaseline around these before you set them down in, then perhaps, I don't know. It was something I thought of, and it's one of those, let's just do a video. Let's see if this is even going to work. And then you can decide how you want to finish it off. I mean, you could drill holes. I mean, you have that option if you have a Dremel. You could be drilling holes, and if you were trying to make a specific pattern, it was more, is this going to work, and will it work not only with the mixed mold, but would it work with the resin? And as I said, the resin made total sense to me that it should work with it because it's a plastic. So I thought, well, let's try it with the mixed mold and see what happens. So that's sort of the extent of this video. It was more or less, let's experiment, let's see what we can do. Perhaps if you got plastic in other shapes, and I'm thinking triangles, squares, maybe olives, ovals, that kind of thing. I mean, it opens up the potential for you to be able to do other things with it. And as I say, if you wanted to put, so let's pretend these three aren't here, and you wanted to use this as a hanger, then now you've got your hole already set in. And as I said, I don't remember the name of the company and exactly where they are, but this gives you an opportunity now that you can make a hole using regular old straws. So there you have it. There's our video. Let me know in the comments below if you see a way that you can use this in your artwork, your creative endeavors. And yeah, and that's it. Short and sweet, I think. So till the next video, take care. Have a great creative day, and bye for now.